Oh, Luna wasn't herself. Really? How many times do we have to hear that tired excuse? She killed 2 people and tried to murder a third. But sure, poor little Luna had a tough time moving around a lot, such a hard life. That's absolutely the explanation we've all been waiting for. No, there's no justification for what she did. And yet here she is, holed up in a house doing absolutely nothing to get better. No therapy, no help, just living the high life while the rest of us try to make sense of it. Bill, on the other hand, he should have a therapist or psychiatrist coming in daily to deal with all this nonsense. It's honestly baffling. And seriously, who gets house arrest for committing 2 cold-blooded murders and kidnapping/drugging someone? Come on, B&B, this is getting embarrassing. Honestly, it would make for some decent writing if they had Taylor play the role of Luna's in-home psychiatrist, bound by patient confidentiality, of course, so she can't spill the beans. She could be sneaking around, doing anything other than pining over some man who thinks she's just a backup plan. It would at least add some real drama. What in the world is Hope wearing? Seriously, it's like they wrapped her in a towel from a budget spa. Honestly, it looks like an exfoliating washcloth. And Taylor, oh Taylor, doing her best impression of a good girl in that school uniform. Now, I will admit, Daphne's dress today was actually cute. But let's be real for a second. That dress? It's like the perfect way to scream, "Look at me, I'm important," while wearing a 1970s throwback meant for a 13-year-old. Before this whole takeover thing, Hope was rocking more grown-up clothes, and it actually looked great on her. But now, boom, they slap her in this hideous gray outfit that screams second grader. Honestly, what else can you expect from a wardrobe department that's dressing executive women in shorts and miniskirts? And don't even get me started on Taylor. She's supposed to be in her 60s, but she looks like she's trying to pull off a Wednesday Addams cosplay. It might work for Angus Young, but on Taylor, not so much. Crocodile tears or real remorse? Today, Luna was bawling her eyes out to Finn, going on and on about how sorry she was for her past mistakes and how deeply ashamed she felt of her crimes. But let's be real, are we buying this, or is it just another round of crocodile tears? Honestly, Luna's a walking train wreck of narcissism. When she glanced at a picture of poor Tom Starr, her reaction said it all. She practically sneered at the photo, muttering to herself, "No way this loser is my dad." Not a hint of guilt, not even a flicker of remorse for offing him, just pure indifference. But maybe, just maybe, there's a tiny sliver of actual remorse buried somewhere deep in her. Sure, she could feel bad, but let's not kid ourselves. Once she figures out that Finn is her dad, she's probably going to turn into some creepy stalker, popping up at Steffy and Finn's place uninvited, because why not? This psycho never really lets things go. Well, it looks like the show is finally starting to pick up. After quitting for what felt like forever due to endless boring storylines, I've come back and, shockingly, I'm actually enjoying it now instead of screaming at my TV. Honestly, this whole Finn/Luna thing might just be the thing that pulls me back in. My main issue before was how everything was dragging on forever. Every day felt like a repeat of the last with no real progress. Do you all think it's just a coincidence that B&B finally started getting interesting right around the time Beyond the Gates premiered? As for my theory, I'm betting on Daphne Rose. With Hope threatening her, Daphne's probably going to come after Carter with a vengeance. Finally, a plot worth watching. I see your point. Since The Bold is Beyond the Gates' lead-in show, it doesn't really make sense to let it drag on and lose viewers. I guess they've been ramping things up on The Bold for the past few months, trying to keep the audience engaged before the new show hits. Makes sense, right? Daphne. Well, Foresters. Thanks for calling me in to help with Carter's brilliant plan to turn Forrester Creations into a global powerhouse with a signature scent. But just curious, why exactly didn't you think of me for this genius idea earlier? The whole Finn vs Poppy situation. Yeah, it starts to make a lot more sense once you remember who Poppy actually is. It's almost like this needs to be stated out loud. Poppy is not a responsible adult. At all. Just this week, she was nodding along with some lunatic, and let's not forget, she sat there like a statue while Sheila pulled all kinds of nasty stunts toward Finn and Steffy, which is exactly why she's not allowed near Finn or her own grandchild. But sure, let's gloss over that. Now, Poppy's resume includes being framed for murder by her own daughter, a well-documented drug problem, and a track record of lying like it's her full-time job, only telling the truth when someone forces it out of her. It's honestly a miracle anyone trusts her with anything. You'd think they're worried she might try to murder her daughter for revenge, help her escape from captivity, or relapse into all her bad habits again. I mean, she's shown zero signs of being stable, so why risk it? On the other hand, Finn? Yeah, he's a law-abiding citizen. He's even helped arrest a bunch of criminals, most of whom, by the way, happen to be his relatives. But hey, at least he's not a walking disaster. You can trust him to stay on the straight and narrow, not mess up Luna's life, or, break the law. Unlike Poppy, who gave up at the first sign of trouble, Finn's actually put in the effort, and he's been trying to reach out to Poppy far more than she ever bothered with him. So yeah, there's a much stronger case that Poppy could be a danger to her daughter, which is probably why they're being cautious. And then there's the warden, just casually sharing all this opinion about Finn and Poppy. Someone walks in claiming to be Luna's father while Luna is locked up for killing her own father, and the warden just hands over info like it's no big deal? No questions asked. Sounds totally legit, right? Oh, do you think Taylor will tell Steffy to ditch Finn for the sake of her safety and the kids? Yeah, it's a guarantee she will, especially once she finds out Luna is Finn's daughter. I mean, sure, Taylor's a pro at advising other women to leave their husbands. But when it comes to her own life, she's perfectly fine being treated like Ridge's doormat. And let's not forget, she's a world-renowned psychiatrist. So obviously, she's a genius when it comes to figuring out which men are toxic and which ones aren't. Oh wait, no, she's actually just incredibly annoying and needs to stay out of things she has absolutely no clue about. Which, let's face it, is everything. So seriously, get out of town with that nonsense. Well, that was a twist I didn't see coming. I fully expected Steffy to bail on the situation like she usually does, but surprise, surprise, she actually stuck around. I mean, sure, it's nice and all, but how's she going to handle it when, not if, she finds out that Bill's secretly harboring Luna? That's the million-dollar question. The whole Bill situation is just beyond absurd. The guy strolls into a prison, casually picks up a double murderer, and then plops her down in his mansion to finish out her, 20-year sentence, as if that's just a normal Tuesday for him. Did he not get his fill of house a killer with Sheila? Apparently not. Maybe Steffy isn't worried because Luna's supposed to be locked up for life, so it won't affect her life, or so she thinks. Newsflash, Steffy. Luna's living it up at Bill's place, and it's probably the cushiest prison life ever. So the real question is, will Finn spill the beans to Steffy? Oh, the drama. Poor Finn will be drowning in tears. He can't tell Steffy anything because, of course, he'll want to help Luna find redemption or whatever, and Steffy's not exactly on board with that plan. And the worst part? Steffy's whole victim narrative for Finn, how he was just this innocent soul tangled up in Poppy's mess, is such a load of crap. He was all in, fully consenting, and never said a word about wanting out. Oh, Liam and Ivy. Yeah, remember that whole Liam and Ivy Forrester thing? Because apparently, the writers don't. Since Ivy's been back, there hasn't been a single interaction between them, not even a glance. You'd think after Ivy literally kissed him the last time they talked, they'd pick up where they left off. But nope. Does anyone actually think they'll bring that back up, or is it just me? Honestly, this show is completely directionless at this point. The writers seem to be flying by the seat of their pants, coming up with one half-baked idea after another. They can't even plan a day ahead, let alone map out where things are going weeks from now. Belle comes up with something, runs with it for a day, then poof, he's totally over it by the next. And as for Ivy's return, don't hold your breath. They won't bring her back unless they can use her for a cheap plot point, only to discard her once they've wrung out every last drop of drama to set up the painfully predictable reunion between Liam and Steffy. If I were to guess, the only storyline that makes any sense here is that Liam and Ivy had a brief FWB situation, because, of course, he can't stay interested in anyone for too long. Then, surprise, Ivy comes back, maybe with a kid or a baby bump, right as Liam is about to fall into Steffy's arms again. Classic soap move.